Hey guys, hope you're doing well. These are notes for day 19. If you guys are having issues with day number 19, what I'm going to do is actually, this is your homework assignment. So if you're having issues with it, you can go through and hopefully go through some of these, and I can answer some questions and check your homework at the same time. So the first example I have written out here, and then we're going to do the second example together. All right. Okay, so for this review of quadratics, okay, we start off with vertex form, okay? If you remember, vertex form is y equals a parenthesis x minus h squared plus k, okay? We call this vertex form because hk is our vertex, all right? If you notice, the equation they give you, which is right here, is in that form. So we know that this graph opens up, okay, because this a value, which is in front here, okay, this a value, which is 2, is positive. So it gives us a happy parabola, all right? And my vertex is hk. Remember, h is a liar. Because of that negative sign right there, whatever you plug in, it's going to make it the opposite. So my vertex is 2, negative 7, all right? Identify the line of symmetry. Remember, your line of symmetry is just the x-coordinate of your vertex. So x equals 2, okay, that's the equation for my axis of symmetry. This is going to have a minimum point because it opens up, right? So we're going to have a minimum. The y-intercept, to find the y-intercept, you just got to plug in 0 for your x value because your y-intercept is going to be 0, something, right, at your y-intercept. So if I plug in 0 and then simplify that right-hand side, I get y equals 1. So my vertex is y equals 1 or 0, 1. Okay, now to find the x-intercept, you guys may have had issues with this. Okay, just like the y-intercept had an x-coordinate of 0, the x-intercepts have 0 for the y-coordinate, and you're trying to find the x-intercepts. Now remember, we found those values by factoring, by quadratic formula, all that good stuff, square roots. All right, so we are going to take and set the y value equal to 0. All right, and all I'm going to do is solve. I'm going to add 7 to both sides. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Okay, how do you undo a square root or square? You square root it. So I square rooted both sides. Now remember, when you square root a number, you get a positive and a negative. All right, so I took the square root of 3.5 and then I added 2. And I took the negative of square root of 3.5 and I added 2. And I got these two values right here, 3.87 and 0.129. Now, if you're going to use your calculator to double check, right, I took my equation, plugged it in, graphed it, and that looks at about 3.8 and about 0.12. Okay, so those are on the right spot. Okay, for letter G, if x, or find x if y is 65. So just like up here, we're going to take 65 and plug it in for that y value. And then we're just going to solve for x. Exactly the same steps up here, we just start with a 65. Okay, added, divided by 2, I got a plus, a positive, and a negative 6. Okay, there's my positive, there's my negative. And then all I did was added 2, and got my answer. So if I'm double checking this, if I go up and it says find x when y is 65, if I go up to find where y is 65, x is negative 4, which is right there. And if I go to 8, I will also see that that's 65. That's the same thing as me saying, hey, find x if y is 11. And you would say 5, and then you would look for a reflection, and negative 1. Again, why do we have 2 answers? All right, we have 2 answers because, all right, let's just say this value and that value, those two both have the same y value, okay? All right, so let's see if we can do example number 2 from your homework, and hopefully you guys will start getting a little better understanding on this, okay? All right, so I'm gonna rewrite this. This is f of x or y, get a pen that works, y equals negative parenthesis x plus 1 squared and then plus 4. All right, so you guys know this is your a value, this is your h, and this guy is your k value. All right, so does this graph open up or down? Well, this one opens down because that's a -1. A is -1. Identify the vertex. The vertex is -1, comma 4. What is the maximum or minimum value? All right. Or yeah, what? Okay. So we're gonna go. This graph opens down, correct? Okay. So we're gonna have a maximum, and that maximum value is going to be y equals 4. All right. It's that vertex. Y equals 4. All right. Identify the line of symmetry. That's just x equals -1. Identify the y-intercept. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in 0 for the x-coordinate. Okay, just plug in 0 and go ahead and simplify. So y equals, all right, this is going to be 1 squared, which is 1. 1 times -1 is -1, plus 4 is 3. So 0, 3 is my y-intercept. Identify the x-intercepts. So here we go. 0 equals negative parenthesis x plus 1 squared plus 4. All I did to find the x-intercepts, I plugged in 0 for the y-coordinate. All right, so let's go ahead and subtract 4. -1 parenthesis x plus 1 squared, divide by -1, so you get 4 is equal to x plus 1 squared. Square root that, and you're going to get a 2 and a -2, right? When you square root both sides, here you get a positive and negative. So we're going to have 2 is equal to x plus 1, and -2 is equal to x plus 1. Subtract 1, x equals 1. Subtract 1, x equals -3. So those are my x-intercepts. If I want to go down to my graph, -1, 2, 3, and a positive 1, we know that my y-intercept is 0, 3. All right, and I can sketch in my graph. All right, now we could do letter F just like we did over here, same thing. Plug in -5 in for y and then solve, or what you guys can do is use your technology. All right, we can plug this in, so negative parenthesis x plus 1 squared, and then plus 4. And if I go to my table, it says find x. Find x when y is -5. So when y is -5, x equals 2. However, remember, there's those reflection points. All right, there's another one, -4. And -4, okay? So what that means is you have 2, -5, and you have 2, -4. All right? Okay. All right, let's do one more for you guys. We can double check this one. Okay. let's look at number 3. So we have y equals x minus 5 squared minus 27. All right, does the graph open up or down? It opens up because a is a positive. What's my vertex? My vertex is 5 comma negative 27. 5, negative 27. Identify the line of symmetry. So x is equal to 5. It's just that x coordinate. What's the minimum or maximum value? Well, this graph we said opens up. So we're going to have a minimum. And the minimum is going to be that y equals negative 27. All right, it's that y value. Identify the y-intercept. Okay, so y is equal to 0 minus 5 squared minus 27. All right, so negative 5 squared is 25. 25 minus 27 is negative 2. So 0 comma negative 2 is my y-intercept. Let's find those x-intercepts. So 0 equals x minus 5 squared minus 27. Add 27 to both sides. Okay, we're going to square root both of those. Now, if you notice, you're going to have, this is not a perfect square, which is fine. So you're going to have negative square root of 27 is equal to x minus 5. And then the square root of 27 is equal to x minus 5. All I did was took the positive and the negative. Let's use my calculator. Clear that out. So let's go negative square root of 27. And now I'm going to add 5 to both sides. All right, and that's going to give me x is equal to negative 0.196. And then the square root of 27. Remember, we're going to add 5 to that. And that's a 10.196. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is just double check to make sure that I did the work right. So I'm going to take my equation here. All right, so parenthesis x minus 5 squared minus 27. Look at my y-intercept, 0, negative 2. That is correct. And if I graph this, my intercepts, look at this. Okay, so my intercept should be at negative 0.2, which is right about there, and 10.1. Well, this is 10. 10.1, and the graph does open up, so I know that I got those correct. That's fine. So if I'm going to sketch what this graph looks like, okay, here, where's 10? There, my y-intercept was what, negative 2, so it's going to, my vertex was 5, negative 27, so it's going to look something like that. Okay, guys? Okay, and then for the last one, number 4, we're not going to do this one. However, what I'll do is help you guys check your answers. All right, you guys can check your own answers just like this. Parenthesis x plus 3. And then we're going to square that. Okay, so look at, all right, there's my vertex, negative 3, 0. All right, negative 3, 0. All right, the axis symmetry is x equals negative 3. This has a, looks like it opens up minimum value at y equals 0. Okay, identify the x-intercepts. Well, look at this. So let's look to see when y is 0. Okay, so what you notice, the only one that has y equals 0 is the vertex. What that means is that my graph, well, here, I'll show you. Looks like this. It just touches once, okay? So my x-intercepts, I just have one of them. My y-intercept, okay, is at 0, 9. That's my y-intercept, and my graph looks like that. So you guys can just plug those in and check them. Use decimals, whatever you want. Okay, guys? All right, so hopefully that helped you guys out with day 19. Vertex, working with that vertex form. Okay, guys? All right, hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.